This is the quiet trap. Not just losing someone else's love, but slowly losing trust in your own perception. And then comes the breaking point. After weeks or months of emotional distance, frustration builds. You ask for clarity, you ask for honesty, you ask for effort, and suddenly you are the problem. You are too sensitive. You are too insecure. You are too suspicious. The same emotional distance that hurt you becomes evidence against you. And eventually, something snaps. You block, or you walk away, or you say the words they were avoiding all along. And in that moment, the story gets rewritten. Now you are the one who left. Now you are the one who couldn't understand. Now you are the one who overreacted. But what gets ignored is the slow erosion that came before it. The unanswered messages, the emotional starvation, the silence that replaced intimacy, the confusion that replaced clarity. Because the truth is, endings don't always look dramatic. Some endings are just repeated emotional absences, until the relationship becomes something you recognize only in memory, not in reality. And maybe the hardest question isn't about them, it's about what happens to you during that process. When affection turns inconsistent, when communication becomes uncertain, when love starts feeling like guessing instead of knowing. Because that is where emotional exhaustion begins, not at the breakup, but long before it is ever spoken. So here's something worth remembering. Real love doesn't leave you decoding silence. It doesn't make you compete for attention. It doesn't slowly erase itself while expecting you not to notice. And if you've ever been in a situation where love didn't end with words, but with distance, you already know how loud silence can be. If this feels familiar, the real question isn't what they did. It's what you learned about love while it was happening, and whether you still believe love should feel like something you have to chase or something that simply stays. There is a kind of ending that doesn't look like an ending. No final conversation, no clear goodbye, no closure. Just silence, stretched over time. And slowly, without even realizing it, you stop being loved out loud and start being abandoned quietly. At first, nothing feels wrong. They still reply, they still react, they still show up in small ways. But something changes: the timing, the energy, the warmth. A person who once couldn't go a few hours without talking to you suddenly becomes unavailable. Not gone, just distant, always busy, always tired, always later. You notice it in small things. Your messages used to get instant replies. Now they sit there, seen but unanswered. When they finally respond, it's short. Okay, yeah. No questions back, no curiosity, no emotional return. Just enough to keep the thread alive, but not enough to keep you emotionally safe. And then comes the confusion phase, because you still see them active, online, posting, laughing elsewhere, engaging everywhere, except with you. And your mind starts doing something dangerous. It starts negotiating. Maybe they really are busy. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe this is normal. So you try harder. You send softer messages, kinder messages, longer messages, more emotional messages. And that's when the imbalance deepens. Because here's the painful truth most people don't say out loud. When someone wants to be close to you, you don't have to convince them. But when someone is already emotionally gone, you start performing for the attention you used to receive naturally. In modern relationship psychology, this pattern has been described as emotional withdrawal without formal closure. Some people call it quiet quitting a relationship. Not a sudden exit, a slow disappearance, a gradual emotional starvation that avoids accountability. And why does this happen? Not always for the reasons you imagine. Sometimes a person doesn't dare to say, "I don't want this anymore," because that sentence carries weight. It creates discomfort. It forces honesty. It makes them the bad person in someone's story. So instead, they choose something easier: distance, delay, coldness. They don't end the relationship directly, they make it unlivable. And here is where the emotional damage deepens, because the person on the receiving end doesn't get closure, they get confused instead. They start analyzing every message, every tone shift, every delay. They replay conversations like evidence in a case they cannot solve. And slowly, they begin to internalize the problem. What did I do wrong? Was I too much? Did I become unlovable?